So me and the goat's been talking this morning. He said I needed to make another Periscope video. I got back from Michigan, looked at this, added a few things. So I talk a little bit about time equals money and why these numbers, why I talk about them, why they work, why they're relevant. Okay. So if you can't tell, I'm a plant, weather, and, I'm just a dork in general. But I think time is most critical on getting more out of less. And the reason why I talk about this phi and fractal, it's basically compound interest with plants. So it all begins with just getting things started earlier. That's where I really get hooked on this. I really want to use 2 crops anymore, a cereal, just to plant it earlier, but have a healthier root system in my soybeans. So the way the soybeans works is if we can get them to grow better every day earlier, we're going to exponentially increase their yield potential later on. And the reason is, if you look at how the golden ratio works, it's just the number plus the previous number. And that, goes from 2, 3, 5, 8, 19, 30, 49. So what I found is, how many days is it between splits? Between these equal signs. So what that fractal means, it comes up, it splits, and then those splits split, and those splits split, and those splits split. So the bottom line is, if you can figure out a way, and that's why I go through the trouble of these bean pushers on the combine and all this stuff, we can find a way to increase life and push down and make this prune. What I think happens with the prune, when we compare 2 big plants to 3 ones in narrow rows, we're getting a bigger sun capture, so we can actually decrease or expedite this split. So when I make all these fractal splits, if I can decrease this to 2 days because each node is empowered with sunlight, then I'm going to get further and further down the line. So I build a plant with, say, 26 nodes instead of 15 and 4 branches. Now we've got 5 or 6 times the profit potential nodes, if you will, and we can empower that. That's what really gets interesting later in August. So I'm telling you, I go out in that field, it's incredible. And the corn acts the same way with these internodes, and it's just all a fiction of time. So if you go out in nature, you're never going to find just linear sun capture. It's all going to be different species, capturing different lights. You're going to have radial light, direct light. You've got all kinds of things to look at, but our fields are boring. And what really frustrates me is we think new tech is all these things we can plug in with genetics. But if we just would plug into Mother Nature, I think we could add the 2 up and really increase our profit. So, yeah, that's why I'm really cognizant of these solar corridors and all this. That corridor is your horsepower. If you start choking that off, I think the biggest mistake, people say, hey, Jason, this is cool. I'm going to do it my way. But I'm going to do it more narrow rows because I don't want to give anything up. Well, I think we need to look more at efficiency of each entity instead of trying to do A the same and B the same and trying to glue them together in a climate that's just not going to work. But that's my little explanation for today. See you. Okay, I got 21 people. One other thing on the economics. If we do compromise and we switch these 2 entities around, you're going to gain quite a bit right there. This is what these numbers are, just price per bushel. But here's the thing. If we flip these around, how much input do we have to put to have that compromised number? How much nitrogen, how much seed? So we can really drive down these costs per entity. And the whole key is here, if we plant 100,000 beans, but we plant them in, say, the 1st of April, and we can plug into this math, then we can use this for weed control and whatever and drive this total cost down. And that's where the efficiency is, the margins. You can drive the cost down and raise this up, and then that makes that margin even wider. All right, later.